In this video, we will be covering about GraphQL, which is a protocol for communication between two microservices. It's an alternative to REST APIs. So here we have a code example. This is chapter 12 of MicroProfile tutorial. Let me show you about GraphQL. I will be running some code which will demonstrate what is GraphQL. So let me open my application. I will be demonstrating this with the help of a catalog microservice. So I have created a microservice which is for product catalog, which supports various operations using GraphQL. It can retrieve all products. It can get a specified product with ID. You can search product with the help of category, or you can provide a search term and you can count products. So it supports various read operations, which is called queries in GraphQL, and create an update and delete operations, which are called mutations in GraphQL. And then we have associations. So we will also demonstrate associations and how to prevent n+1 problem of querying a relationship. Then we will be demonstrating use of MicroProfile configuration. So prerequisites are Java 21 for this particular application. So let me go to the code folder, and within this is chapter 12. And in the chapter 12, as I said, we have a catalog service. So let me run the catalog service. So I'm just compiling, cleaning the previous package, creating new var package and deploying it to Liberty server, where I will be running the microservice. So microservice is getting deployed. In the meantime, I'll open the tutorial. So this is the MicroProfile tutorial, which covers every aspects of a microservice. In the version 7.1, you will find chapter on GraphQL. Rest, most of the features we have already covered. So here you will find various topics about what is GraphQL, how it is different from REST, and what is new in GraphQL 2.0. What is the schema first and code first approaches, and how do you enable a product or a project with GraphQL? How does it integrate with the MicroProfile config, which is for externalizing configuration? And there are various other topics which are related to error handling, doing mutations, different types supported in GraphQL. So you can read about this and you can look into various examples, snippets, and their explanation in this chapter content. Along with this, there is a code sample, which is what I am running and demonstrating in this application. So here our server has been started. Now, as you see here, we have 5060 as the port in which application is running, and the context root is GraphQL/catalog. As with all of our projects, we have a README file where we have all the details about running the application. Let me show you the preview of the README file in a well-formatted HTML. So here, this is about the various topics I was talking about. So we went through the prerequisite, we ran the application. Now let's see the running of the application. And we'll try out some commands as well. A GraphQL implementation also comes with a GraphQL interface, which is a client for testing various graph commands. So let me open 5060 endpoint in browser. So you see this application is running. I'm opening it in browser window. So I see the context page, and then we'll go to GraphQL UI. So let me try opening the UI. And so first thing what I will do is I'll make this particular port as public, because we have to download this interface, which is GraphQL, from the CDN. So I'm just verifying. Yeah, once I made this public, I go to the URL, which is followed by context root, which is GraphQL in the catalog service, and then here GraphQL UI.html. So here I can try out various queries. So this is the format of GraphQL query, which is in the form of JSON. Here I am querying for product ID 1. So any client which is looking for some information can make a query, and it can tell what fields they are looking for. So in case I don't want this category in stock quantity, I can remove this. And when I will trigger the query, I'll get a response. I'll get the fields which I have asked for. So this is a very good way of reducing overfetching and underfetching in case of remote APIs. So this is how we work with GraphQL. Let me now add back these fields. So as you see here, now if I run the query again, I'll see other fields as well. So this is additional flexibility provided by GraphQL. There are many other features which we would like to demonstrate. So let me show this side by side. And what are various examples? So first example is, if I want to list all the products, then I have this query. So let me run this query here, and this will give us the list of all the products. Again, in this list, I can choose what all fields I want. So as you can see here, I have reduced the number of fields, and now my JSON, which is the response JSON, should give me less fields. So only 3 fields which I have asked for. Now I run this command, and you see now our JSON response has been accordingly modified. So we already discussed about querying with the product ID. So which is just, we have to place an ID equal to 2. If we want to query for an ID which is equal to 2, automatically this particular ID will show the errors in case any. And when you run, you will get, if the query is not correct, you will get this kind of errors. So here we have to use product, which is the name of the entity, because we have product as the endpoint here. So now this is appropriate query and there is no error. So this is a great feature. This is error handling feature that once your query is executed, if your syntax is not correct, you also see the error message. So let me give more examples. Here, if we want to query for some other fields which are computed fields, we can do the query as well. So this is my other query. So here we have price with tax, we have price category, availability status. So you see here more fields are coming in here. And if I just say products and run this query, you will see all the products with these additional fields. Also, there is a possibility of combining different objects. So here, this is an example where I have a product and there is a review associated with the product. And in a single query, I want to join the information from both the tables. So this is how it is done. So let me also increase the font size here so that it is visible to you. So in this query, we have a product with ID 1 and I'm retrieving not only the information of the item from the product table, but I also want to retrieve the information about that particular product from other table as well, which is a reviews table. And this reviews table has a relationship between product. A product could have multiple reviews and I want the reviewer name, rating, comments and created at fields. And then also I want to do an aggregation query of all the reviews and I want to give the average rating as well in the output. So when I run this particular command, you see the information is aggregated from multiple tables. So same I can do for all the products and this will be my query and then the output, appropriate output will be there. So you see that this graph query implementation is very fast and is very flexible as well. So other examples are this is getting multiple products which we saw. We can get the top reviewed product. So yeah, this is another interesting query where for a particular item, say a product with ID equal to 3, I want to, or let's say product with ID equal to 1, I want top 3 reviews, right? So this is what my query is all about. Let me see, there is a syntax error. How can we get rid of this? So top reviews. So instead of reviews, I will say top reviews and limit is 3. And when I run this, I'll get for the product ID 1 top reviews. So here, this is the first top review, second review, and so on, if that exists. So this is about the limit. We can search for a product as well. So let me show you another query which is about searching an item. So I'll paste this particular query. This is how you will search. So it will give you item where the category is electronics and the search term is laptop. So name contains laptop. So this is search by term only without category. That's also possible, which is straightforward. We can get the statistics as well. So query, product count, average price, categories. So this is an API which is for statistics. So you see here, there is a product count. There are total 5 products. There's average price, which is 343.99. Category electronics. So this is all specified in GraphQL. So you can create a very complex query as well. Like you have a query about all the products, then you can have the reviews, you can have average rating and top reviews also added, and then some aggregation as well. So with JSON formatted query in GraphQL, you can create very complex queries as well. Now let's talk about mutation. Mutation is all about creating product, updating or deleting any product. So basically it is the write operation on the database, which is called mutation. So let me come back to the GraphQL interface, and instead of query, now this is the format which is we call mutation. Here it is in the form of create product, and there is an input which is wireless charger and price and category, and other details have been provided here. So we specify that these are the fields which we would like to populate. So when I run this query, you see this particular item will be created, and we return here the ID, name, price, price with text, category of the new item which has been created. So this is one of the query which is about creating a product. Now I can update a product also. So the update command is what I am now executing next. So this is the update command. We have a mutation which is called update product, and we provide in JSON format the structure of the changes which we want to do as input, and then output what all fields we would like to see. We just want to see maybe if we want to see also the description, we can add the description here as well and run the query. So you see here, this is the updated data which is coming back to us. And now if I query with the product as well, so let's say I want a query. There is a feature of this UI, I can see the history, and I can query, re-execute a query which is previously executed. So here we should have a 6th item as well, which is wireless charger. So these are the features, like you have documentation also available for this particular GraphQL catalog microservice. So here you don't need open API documentation. So iSchema is provided here, and with the help of the schema, you can check out what all fields are supported and how you can query, and with description as well. So this is very useful if you want to explore and you don't know about the API. You can learn about the API from this doc, which is called Document Explorer. And you can come back to this editor, which also has this syntax coloring and autocomplete, as well as error detection and correction. So we have seen update. Now last thing is delete. So if we want to delete our new item, which is wireless charger, we would execute this query, which is delete product, and we'll provide the ID to be deleted. And if I run this, the item will be deleted. So as you can see, we have creation and querying of an item in the same request, right? So you can have this kind of query as well, where you have both mutation as well as query in one go. So here you see I have create product and then I have a query. Okay, so here this is not allowing me to run the two queries together in this particular interface. So I'll just execute this and it will create a new product, which is USB cable. Then there is a concept of variables as well. So in the variables, you have this kind of query. So now I have a query here and I have a variable here. So variable dollar product ID, I can define it here. If I put here 2, then this will be querying for product 2. So let me try again this query where I will be trying to query for the product. So here I'll get back on how to execute two queries, two different kinds of queries in one go, if that's possible in this interface, or yes, what exactly is the syntax. Otherwise, I'll update this document. So we learned about the variables and we can also do mutation with variables. So we saw queries with the variables, and in the same way, you can do mutation with variables as well. As you can see here, we have the create product and then there is an input which is product input, and this input is defined here as a variable, and variable is the entire class or an object here. So let me execute this. So let me remove the history and go back and execute the query by pasting it. from this particular source. So let me have this. Now here we have the product, but this product is not defined. So when I run it here, we get an error message saying that the input variable is not defined. So this is about error handling. So we have validation error. So to fix it, we define the variable, and to define a variable, this is the syntax for defining the variable. I'll come back to our interface, which is GraphQL, and within the variables and headers, I can define here the variables. So as you can see here, we have a variable which is the entire object which has to be passed. This is the product object which will be passing as an input to create product query or mutation. So when I run this, we get another product created which is with ID 8, which is about smartwatch. There's a concept of aliases as well. In alias, you can create an alias like this. So here what you do is you execute the same field multiple times with different argument in a single request. So let's see this in detail in our interface, which is GraphQL interface. I'll demonstrate you the use of alias. So as you see here, we have budget, search product, query, search term is mouse. So budget and premium, these are the two alias for these searches. So we run it and we get the data here. We can also define reusable fragments as well. And then these fragments could be reused in our query. So let's see this in action. So here we have the fragment defined, and then we are using this fragment in our query. So fragment product basic on product, and then this fragment is added here. So this helps us in reducing the code. When execute, it execute as a single query. So these fragment, which is product basic and product detailed, these are added here. So here first we have a product with all the basic information. We are getting a list of products with all the basic information. Then we are getting one product, a specific product with ID 1 with more detailed information. So this is what it shows. It also shows how we have joined the product with the reviews table, and then it also shows the list of products. So error handling we discussed about earlier, and we can demonstrate this with the help of queries which are done on data which do not exist. So for example, I'm looking for a product ID with 4 nines as ID. This will give error occurred, and there is an exception which is product not found exception. So this is a custom exception which I have defined, and we can kind of return this custom exception as well using GraphQL. So these are various examples, and the same commands you can try with curl as well. Now let's look into the implementation of this particular API. How this was implemented, and implemented is very straightforward. You will be surprised to see how easy this is to implement. So for example, we have a product service and review service. We have here product graph configurable API. So basically we have here class which defines different methods and fields. So we have defined here queries, as well as we have defined here the fields of our class. So basically we have a product input object, and this is annotated. So product input, this is with the help of annotations, we are defining our object. This is validations also using Jakarta bean validation. We added description as well as we added validation like non-none validation. Then we have the GraphQL API, which is an object which is added here, which contains queries: get all products, get product, search products. So these are the queries. And their implementations as well. So here in the source code, you will be able to see all the classes which are used to create these GraphQL query implementation. So we can define exceptions. So there is a repository as well, which is like a repository for collecting the object. Then there is a service as well. And then, so basically you have here an API package where we define our GraphQL API. So this is a dynamic configuration demonstration, which is not always used, but yeah, here is our configuration for GraphQL API for the product operation. So we define all the APIs here in the product GraphQL API implementation. We have the DTO object defined in the DTO package. Then we have entities. So GraphQL interface for entity, this is a unique identifier. Then we have order entity, we have the product entity, so we can define different entities here. We have the product review entities as well, and we have here exceptions. We have the repository. So this repository layer takes care of the persisting the data. So it takes care of all the database operations. And then we have a service layer. which is exposing all these business logic for various operations in product. So here in this particular tutorial, you can find the source code and can learn from it in detail. So today we discussed about GraphQL. We learned about how to use it through the interface, which is always there with the implementation of GraphQL, and how you can run these GraphQL queries. And these are all post queries. So whether it's a query or mutation, everywhere post requests are being sent in GraphQL. So that's all for the demonstration of GraphQL today.